Welcome to today's video. Today we're going to be making a nice stretchy pair of leggings. They can be worn with a tight kameez or an anarkali, and I'll show you. I will be making an anarkali out of this fabric, and I'll be wearing these leggings with that. But I'm also going to make a tight kameez out of this fabric, another beautiful one. I'm going to make a nice fitted kameez, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that in another video. So do make sure you subscribe to get notified about upcoming videos. The amount of fabric you're going to need for your leggings is going to depend on your own measurement, plus in the amount of stretch it has in it. So this particular one is a 4-way stretch. So they're super comfortable, but sometimes Lycra is only stretch in one direction. So do check that when you buy them, and literally when you're buying the fabric, just wrap it around yourself. See if it goes around your thigh, see if it goes around your biggest part near your hips, and you'll know whether you've got the right amount of fabric. Now, the one thing we're going to use today that we don't normally is just something as a guide. So this is a pair of leggings I have at home. And again, these are cotton, so they don't stretch as much as the Lycra. These really stretch, yeah? So that's what we need to bear in mind. But they do give you an idea of how much you need, what kind of shape you're going to make. As you can see in these leggings, if we ignore for the moment that it's got a waistband and just consider that one part, the crotch on the back of your leggings are actually longer than the crotch on your front. You can just have the same front and back and they'll just be extra comfortable. But if you did want to get them super fitted, then you can do the same as what you would have in a traditional pair of trousers or leggings, which is a shorter crotch at the front and a slightly long one at the back by about an inch. The tricky thing about sewing these leggings is that some sewing machines don't take to the stretch and the stitch just doesn't stay in. But I'll give you a top tip on how to avoid that and make sure that you put in a seam that stretches with the fabric. I'll be giving you my measurements as I go along. I'm a sort of a UK 8-10. In addition, you're going to need your thread, measuring tape, our super thin pins and our scissors. I measured how long I want my pajami to be, so literally put my measuring tape absolutely dead straight to the ground and then keep it where you actually want to tie it. So for me that's 39, and I measured out 39.5 just for seam allowance. Cut the length off and folded my fabric into 4. The ends are rolling like this. You can see I've just pinned them down so that I'm the absolute edge of this fabric. Just pinned it all down and then pinned the top one down as well. Just place these leggings on top of the fabric. You can see that there's 2 layers there, so that's going to be both of the fronts of the legs and the cut piece is going to be here. No join in the front or anything like that. The best way to measure how much fabric you need is to stretch it out and then actually put it around, say if you're measuring your thigh, put it around your thigh or your knee, and that way you can take that measurement and place it without stretching onto your measuring tape. Place your measuring tape on your fabric and you know where to cut. You can make these leggings fit you as you wish. You may want more gathers near the ankle and have an extra bit so you can just ruffle them up. You might want them completely tight. You might want them so tight but then coming out a little bit just so that they hang over your ankle. It's really up to you what you want to do, but when you go to cut it, just allow for that and make sure you cut enough material. It's better to leave extra fabric and then if you need to cut it away after, you can, or if you change your mind about something, you still have that option. Place it on top of your fabric. This will give you an idea of whereabouts you are when you transfer your measurement. I've put in my thigh measurement here. This is my knee and this is my ankle. And just at the top I've also put in my waist. So we can start to cut this fabric away now. Now I'm just cutting towards my next pin. I am being a bit generous here because there's nothing worse than cutting away too much fabric. If you cut less fabric, you can always cut more after. And I'm going to leave that joined. I'm going to actually start from here. Give it a little shake. There, we've cut it away. No turning back now. They are looking quite good already. They look like leggings to me. I'm taking the crotch part to begin with. I'm going to join both of those first and the legs after. We're actually going to sew this on a zigzag stitch. There you see the zigzag coming through. Now that's going to give it the stretch that we need that seam to have, but we don't want this tension to be too tight. I can see that it's just pulling it a little bit too much there, so I'm going to relax the tension and I'm going to do it just under 3. And you can see this is what we want to have. This is going to give us a nice comfortable stitch. Choose the zigzag to be as tightly together as possible so that the ends of the zigzag would be the normal space of a seam stitch, and that way it's going to be nice and neat from the front, and it's not going to look like there's a zigzag. It's going to look like a normal seam. When you're sewing, hold your fabric in place really tightly so that there's no pulling on the fabric and you're feeding it through like this. Yeah, we can see this seam is better now. It's not pulling. The seam's coming out beautifully. I'm quite happy with the way these seams are turning out. I've sewn down this leg so far. I do want to improve the fitting here though. I can see that I can take this in, and once I know exactly what measurement I'm going to be sewing in here, I'm going to sew this leg so that I can do one smooth seam knowing that it's exactly the right fit. I've tried them on, they fit really nice, they're really comfortable. I feel like I've just walked out of a Wham video. There's 3 ways I would finish off the bottom of the pajami, and that is either just cut it and leave it if you can get away with that, and if that's what you want to do, I would just give this a little diagonal cut so that when you wear it, the inside fabric doesn't hang out. This fabric doesn't actually fray, so I can get away with just cutting it and leaving it. The other thing you could do is you could just join on a bit of your scrap and use it like binding. That way you've got the same stretch on your binding as you have on your pajami, and then you can turn that the right way around and you can hand hem that so that it stretches nicely, and you don't have to do a zigzag because you don't want it to be visible. Or if you have a really long pajama, you could just turn it in 2 times so that it's nice and neat, and again hand hem it so that there's nothing visible on the top. When you're measuring your elastic for your waistband, what you want to do is measure it on yourself and make sure you place it where your leggings are actually going to stop. Snug enough for your waist, big enough for your biggest part. I know that's going to definitely keep my leggings up. So holding that same part, I'm going to place it here, make sure I'd be able to get it on. I think that's too small. So I'm going to do that again. I'm going to place it here. That's still snug here. Holding the 2 points again. That's much better. So if I measure this without stretching it now, this is 31 inches, and so I want to cut this and I want to sew this down first, so a really good generous zigzag all over that so there's no way it can come apart, and then sew it onto my leggings. I'm still going to sew the elastic on a zigzag stitch, and I'm just going to make a square. There's no way this band is going to come apart. Just a few seams like that. Sew the top part of the leggings to the bottom part of the elastic, so that when I turn it in, on the inside you're going to see part of the elastic, which I don't mind, and it's still going to be neat on the outside. Now remember, you still want to sew this with a zigzag stitch so that it stretches nicely with the lycra. Start at any point of your leggings, fabric halfway, zigzag stitch ready. Start with a double seam, and if you want, pin in about 3 or 4 places your fabric to your elastic, so that you know that you're going to get an even stretch all the way around. So here we have it, we've got our leggings. I'm quite happy with the way they've turned out. Apart from this inside seam, that could have been a lot neater, but my sewing machine is giving up on me. I hope you found that quite easy and straightforward to follow, and I hope you enjoyed the video itself. If you did, please give me a thumbs up, like, share and subscribe. Make sure you click the bell button so that when I make the anarkali and the tight kameez to go with this pajami, you'll get the notification. I'm promising the next video I upload will be the Sabyasachi blouse all over again, because as you know, I lost that video. Just so that you know, when I'm making a simple straightforward pajami like this, it doesn't take that long to make it or edit it, but the moment that you're making something that is a little bit more intricate, more parts to it, it takes longer to video and it takes longer to edit. So I really appreciate your patience.